It's that time of year again.
Yeah, it is.
Not the second time we've done this.
Christmas.
Christmas.
Xmas.
And again, it's me doing the themed episode. And as much as I try, and oh boy, did I try to wiggle out of it.
He didn't try it all.
He didn't try it all.
Here we are.
Begged for it.
Absolutely asked for it.
But instead,
Guys, please give me Christmas
Guys,
again.
I love doing the themed ones.
but instead of doing a Christmas theme episode this fortnight,
Oh,
I am doing an episode as a gift to you, boy.
Aw, it's not even wrapped.
what my Christmas shirt?
This story has one of the most well-known misquoted lines where they have used
Oh, I know what you're doing.
where they used have instead of had. That's right, Houston. We've had a problem.
You're a dog.
We're doing Apollo 13, but not quite. With your help, boy, we'll cover it. But instead, I'm going to focus firstly on one of the heroes of that story.
Tom
Judith-
Hanks.
No, Judith Love Cohen.
In Hanks, we trust. Oh, I know who that is.
Yes, well, don't spoil it for the audience. They might not know who it is.
I hope they don't.
So, how have we been? Boy, do you have any news to share
Sorry,
with
you're
us?
not leaving a space for the intro video that I spent 11 hours making.
Oh, we totally did. It was all of 5 seconds. You can cut and move that.
Roll it.
How long does it go for?
Yeah, like, do we actually,
We
do we
don't
actually have
sit
to
and
leave?
wait.
it?
We
Okay.
can just start talking.
Yeah, so, what?
Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome, audience. Thanks for listening. Welcome
YouTube
back
audience.
Yes, YouTube audience. Welcome back to this Christmas episode, which is I'm presenting as a gift to my boy.
What date is it today?
Today
It's
is
the 19th.
17th.
Today is the 17th. Episode release day is the 19th.
Correct.
It's the 19th.
That's the most Christmas day of all.
Mm-hmm.
Any news to share with us, boy, since our last recording?
Yeah. I got engaged.
Yay, he did.
Yeah.
Congratulations, boy.
Thank
And
you.
she said no the first time. Kidding.
Oh, yeah, amazingly, she said yes.
She's in bed right now. She's probably not going to come out and show the ring, but it's there.
Congratulations, Bree.
Congrats, Bree.
No response.
Wow.
Nothing.
That's how excited she is.
Cheeky verse.
That's married life. Welcome to it. I love you, honey, if you're listening.
She's not listening.
She could be. She does listen.
yeah, my wife's not listening. Committed spouses. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
Do we also want to address the fact that you're probably hearing some background noise because today is 38 degrees. And
Yeah, if you hear some
aircon running.
low hum or aircon noise,
Yeah.
that is real.
That's
And,
real.
We don't apologize for it.
It's not a filter.
Yeah. We have recorded in summertime at night without the aircon on, and that was one. That was a
It was
very
uncomfortable enough. Yeah,
uncomfortable episode.
it was
So,
pretty bad.
And there was no video, so you couldn't see the beads of sweat.
Yeah.
forming.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, daytime episode. We haven't recorded during the day probably since
Last
Not for a
Christmas.
yeah.
Medley of
No.
Madness.
Oh, Medley of
Might have
Madness.
been the
That was the
medley,
daytime. Yeah.
It was late afternoon, but
That was-
anyway.
Good old Medley of Madness.
Coming up this
Coming
2nd
up,
of
yeah.
January.
Electric Boogaloo. No.
Good tease. So, into the story.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why you looked at me waiting for
Oh,
something.
I'm just waiting for the pun, but whatever.
I'm not going to do a pun for this one because it means too much to me.
Christmas puns, challenging. Apollo puns, also challenging.
All right.
It would be nice if Apollo the cat came out here
Mm.
because that is what he's named after.
I actually mentioned a few books later on. I'm hoping you're actually able to whip them out.
I don't have any books.
Damn, that'd be cool.
I've got the photo book.
Yeah, oh yeah. But that'd be cool. Anyway, so Judith was born on August 16th, 1933 in Brooklyn, New York to father Morris Cohen and mother Sarah Cohen. This was the late 30s and 40s. Options for women were limited. Her mother and aunts worked in a dress factory and Judith would entertain herself at home by sewing lace dolls. Her father, who was a soda salesman, at night would explain geometric concepts and Judith would be enthralled.
Yum, yum.
Very early on, not
Soda
much happening.
salesman.
Soda. He would sell soda, which soft drinks for us Aussies, and
I feel like at that time, probably a much bigger deal.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. These nightly lessons inspired a love of math, and it was very clear early on that she had a talent for it. And by grade 5, her classmates were paying her to do their math homework.
Nerd.
She was very often the only girl in the math class and inspired to be a math teacher, even after a guidance counsellor suggested that she should go to finishing school and become a lady.
A lady.
A lady.
Become a lady.
Do we even have finishing schools these days?
Not really. I mean,
My boss went to one.
I can't say I've noticed one like around or heard of anyone going to them. The most you hear of is in some states they still do like debutante ball type stuff, like cotillion style. But but it's not. It's more like
US states.
No, I'm talking in South Australia and Victoria, but it's more just another way of doing formal. But they do deb balls.
No finishing schools in Wagga Wagga.
No, this.
What
Got him.
what do you?
Jeez.
And what do you learn? That, like how to hold the fork properly?
Yeah, it's like all
They do
the
stuff like
fancy
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
How to walk around with books in your head, probably.
Oh, yeah, nice posture, straight posture.
Yeah. By the way, totally thinking about posture when we're on camera.
Mm.
Also, Cheesy, you're welcome. My angle change is because of you.
Australian Finishing School, Australia's leading modern finishing school for ladies. The website is loading.
I changed the camera angle for me because Cheesy said it looks like a hostel.
Oh,
on the
okay.
side.
Etiquette training.
Got stuff in the background now.
Etiquette training and certification.
Yeah.
Why is that trademarked?
TM.
It is. Etiquette training and certification. TM.
Yeah.
Cool.
Why not?
Our deportment school, interested in what that means, offers etiquette workshops for adults. We provide finishing training to help build self-esteem and confidence. Etiquette is the fruit of manners, and it deals directly with kindness, consideration, elegance, style, and decorum. That's a great word. This comprehensive social etiquette course is divided into 8 steps, from introductory table manners and dressing etiquette to more advanced social and business etiquette. Finally, studying international... can't quite pronounce that very well. Savoir vivre and the art of conversation and being more refined lady or man. Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Adelaide.
Nice. Well, Judith didn't do that. Instead, she followed her dreams, and by the age of 19, she was studying engineering at Brooklyn College. And she was also in the dancing ballet in the Metropolitan Opera Ballet in New
Dancing
York.
ballet as opposed to other ballets?
It does say dancing ballet.
Are there other kinds of ballet?
No, it's worded as by age 19, she was studying engineering in college and dancing ballet in the Metropolitan Opera.
Yeah,
It's
dancing
verb.
ballet.
Right. That makes sense.
She received a scholarship to Brooklyn College to major in math, but she realised she preferred engineering. And after 2 years, she married her first husband, Bernard Siegel, and moved to California. Here she worked as a junior engineer at North American Aviation and attended the University of Southern California at night. She would earn her bachelor's and a master's degree in electrical engineering from USC, which is the University of Southern California, and graduated in 1957, and was just one of 8 women in a class of 800. She did have 4 children as well, with her first child, Neil Siegel, born in 1954. I couldn't find the birth dates of the other 2, but figured an important date of her first child, which was right in the middle of her study and work. I really just wanted to point out how busy this lady must have been, raising children, studying, well, at this point, a master's, I believe, in engineering, and also working in engineering as well, which I can't imagine being just a 9-to-5 job. Like if you're working on something, you're going to be working on it.
Oh, yeah. You're doing whatever you need to do.
One of her early engineering works included the guidance computer for the Minuteman missile. Want to have a stab at what that is, boy?
The Titan 2. I wasn't listening. What was the question?
Oh, wow. Caught him out in 4K.
I was doing a bit of reading. Not 4K. It's 1080p.
Okay,
Good
1080.
job.
The early works, engineering works, included the guidance computer for the Minuteman missile.
Yes.
Do you have a stab of what the Minuteman missile is?
It's a missile that's heard of a community that needs your help.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you, Garvey.
Ooh, deep cut.
I mean, not really that deep. Anyone that's played
Anyone that's played Fallout 4, yeah.
The Minuteman was a sounding rocket, wasn't it?
No.
No, it was a intercontinental ballistic missile.
Was
or
it?
ICBM.
Oh, yeah. It was one of the super early ones.
Yes, pretty much a rocket that could travel between continents with a nuclear warhead attached to its nose.
One of the small payload ones. Because you get up to like the Titan II, which was used in Gemini. And that was like a heavy payload, intercontinental ballistic missile.
These early missiles would take 30 to 60 minutes to load, which wasn't considered a problem at the time, as that's how long it would take to load up target coordinates in the guidance system, which is what Judith helped to improve to be able to make these missiles ready quicker, as keeping in line with their namesake, the Minutemen, which you would know from Fallout 4.
Yes.
And quickly, the Minutemen were an organised militia during the American Revolutionary War, and were known for being ready at a minute's notice. Vis-a-vis the name. In the mid-60s, she divorced from Bernard and married Thomas Black. And while working on probably the most notable accomplishment of her career, she had her fourth child in 1969.
Nice.
In a show...
Nice.
You were waiting for that. I could see it on your face.
Yep.
In a showing of how dedicated she was to her work, she actually went into her office on the day she went into labour. When it was time to go to the hospital, she took a computer printout of the problem she was working on, and later that day called her boss to inform her she had solved the problem, and oh yes, the baby was born too. A baby boy. Jack Black.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, the Jack Black we know from Tenacious D.
This episode's a tribute.
It's a tribute to Judith. From Tenacious D, Kung Fu Panda, Jumanji, and the voice of Bowser in the latest Super Mario Brothers
I do
movie.
like that.
And The Holiday, excuse me, one of the greatest Christmas rom-coms of all time.
Oh, okay.
I love
All
that
right.
you went with Tenacious D first, which I think is probably the least known of his things.
I would have said School of Rock first.
Yes, he was also School of Rock. I don't know. I just feel like I associate Tenacious D with Jack Black
Personally,
first.
we all associate
Yes.
him with Tenacious
Yes.
D.
And then probably second. It's probably the order which I associate. Like Kung Fu Panda would be second for me.
Yeah, that's because you got kids.
Yeah.
School of Rock still for me.
School of Rock is
Then
an excellent
Kung Fu
movie.
Panda. Anyway, our new episode of our podcast rating Jack Black's achievements comes out next week.
Yeah, we're done with Adam Sandler movies.
Jack Black fan.
Now we're up to Jack Black movies.
Adam Sandler's gone quiet the last 12 months.
If you're listening, Jack Black, because I know you like to
He does.
collaborate on fun things, we'd love to have you on the show.
Well, he-
I
And
don't
it
think I
would
can
be
handle
great.
having Jack Black here.
I don't think any of us could handle the amount of energy that he brings.
I'd be far too happy.
Oh man, the videos he did with Tony Hawk and his kids
Yeah.
for the release of the Pro Skater game, and when they remastered Pro Skater and had Jack Black
I
in
didn't
it.
see
Oh,
those.
it's absolutely hilarious.
Jack Black's a character in the new Tony Hawk game.
We might have
Did
to
not know
put that as supplementary content because it's very good.
I did see a bunch of videos.
Can we share that?
Yeah.
Why not?
Cool.
Put it on the link
Put it on
tree.
the link tree.
I did see
Or
a
the
bunch of
Instagram.
videos he had done like did he edit himself on top of himself being like General Grievous with like pool noodles as lightsabers?
I have literally no idea what you're talking
No,
about.
I think he did. I think I've seen that.
And then
Yeah.
he painted himself green, was the Hulk for something. Yeah,
Yep.
he's amazing.
Okay.
He's put out some quality stuff.
He does. He's what's known as a good sport.
Yeah.
Have you seen the film clip for their new cover of that Chris Isaak song?
Oh, I know they covered it. I haven't seen a video for it.
It's him and Kyle Gass in their underwear running in the ocean. it's pretty graphic.
Oh,
Wicked game, great song.
Yeah.
It's a shame Chris Isaac's a bit of a piece of
Yeah. I went on a bit of a Chris Isaak binge after that. He's really not got that many songs.
No.
Yeah.
It's also a pretty dude.
Mm.
we could circle back around to Jack Black later.
So our next episode of our Chris Isaak Smack Talk podcast
Comes out the week
Do
after
not
the
come
Jack
on
Black
the show,
Fantasy.
Chris Isaac.
Anyway, so what was so important about this problem she was working on while in labour? It was the abort guidance system in the lunar excursion module for the Apollo space program. And was this important? Yes, as it helped save the lives of Apollo 13. Now, boy, since this is obviously your area of expertise,
Mm.
would you like to assist me in telling the rest of the story?
Sure.
Cool. Awesome.
Just throw to me at any moment.
Oh, you just come in with any knowledge that you know.
All right.
I've got a bunch of stuff
Do
down,
you
but
cover what happened during the launch?
probably not.
Okay.
We'll see. Now, you did briefly touch on this in your Space Race Part 2 episode back in September of 2022. Go have a listen if you haven't. But let's dig into the story a little more. And
Two episodes, by the way.
it is, but Part 2 specifically. is the Apollo program.
Yes.
And can I just say, let everyone know, Aaron's had no preparation for this. He has had no idea what this topic was. This is all knowledge he possesses because he is actually that passionate about the Apollo missions.
As John beats up how good I'm going to be at this, I have not actively looked into Apollo stuff for a little while, but I should still know quite a bit.
I'm sure you'll do fine.
I have a piece of Apollo 11 sitting just underneath where my camera is.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, the one you bought me.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was being...
Muppet.
I was
You could have chosen
acting.
not to be humble.
I was acting. And besides, it was a gift from multiple people.
Yes.
It was a group gift.
2 of which are in the room.
And
Correct.
We bought Aaron a 1 mil by 1 mil piece of the gold foil from Apollo 11
Command module.
command module.
It's honestly my most prized possession.
I'm so happy we could do that for you, boy. So a quick recap
Quick
for
crap.
everyone. Yeah, quick crap. I crap bed on that sentence, didn't I? A quick recap for everyone, boy. Apollo 11 was the first to land on the moon.
Yes, it was.
Apollo 12.
Apollo 12 was the second to land on the moon
Yes.
and the first to ruin a color TV camera.
Oh, really?
Their whole thing with Apollo 12 was like, we're going to have a color TV camera. It's
Oh,
going to
right.
be awesome.
Yep.
And the guy got the camera out and immediately pointed at the sun and broke it.
Just destroyed the lens.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, the main point of Apollo 12's mission was to prove that they could select an area to land, and they did that.
Incredibly well.
Yeah.
They got within, I want to say it was within a kilometer.
I think Apollo 11 landed not where they wanted. They overshot the area, didn't they? If I
Yeah, but
remember
that was
correctly.
because the actual landing zone was full of like boulders and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, because they had not enough information about what they could land on.
Yeah.
12, the actual landing spot was within some ridiculously small amount, but
Yeah.
they were within a kilometer of, I think it was Surveyor 2. It was a rover that they'd landed on the moon.
Oh, yeah.
So there's footage of them like walking over to this thing and being like, here it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the specific purpose for Apollo 13, do you know what that was? Like their main mission goal?
Can't remember now.
Because, yeah, each landing they were getting more and more advanced with what they tried to
I think they'd intended
accomplish.
to stay a bit longer
Yeah, okay.
because all the Apollo missions had like, they were classified as like this is what this mission is.
Yeah.
And the first 3 were supposed to be short stay, like scientific. And then the next 2 or 3 were supposed to be slightly longer stay, like prove they could stay on the ground longer.
Yep.
And then after that was the rover and like extended stay and drive around the place. And yeah.
So the mission launched on April 11th, 1970 with crew members Commander James Lovell, Command Module Pilot John Swigert. Is that
Lovell's still alive, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I
One
believe so.
moment.
There's only a few of them still alive. It's
And-
him and Buzz Aldrin and
Jim Lovell is alive.
yeah.
And the third crew member was the lunar module pilot Fred Hayes.
Did you say Jack Swaggart?
Jack
John.
Swigert.
John Swiggert?
John Swigert.
Jack Swaggart was
Jack.
later, I think.
His name is Jack Swigert, and he has passed away.
The commander, James Lovell, had been to the moon before, hadn't he, boy?
Yeah, he was Apollo 8.
Correct. Which was the first craft to orbit the moon.
Yep, they were the Genesis ones.
And at the time,
I mean, they read Genesis. Not
yeah.
that they were the first,
yeah, right.
but they were.
And at the time, he was the astronaut with the most time in space at 572 hours.
Mhm.
The rocket used for this mission was very similar to that of Apollo 11 and 12, the Saturn V for 5, Saturn 5. I knew I'd get you on that.
You just filled me with an indescribable rage.
The Saturn V rocket. However, there were slight distant...
No longer the most powerful rocket ever launched.
It depends on if it launched in the first place.
Oh,
Ooh. However, there were slight differences included.
Nobody questions that it launched except flat earthers. I do not respect you.
Do you know what the differences were between 11, 12, and 13 for the rocket? Slight differences. They had insulation for the liquid hydrogen propellant,
Yeah.
which made Apollo 13 the heaviest so far. And it was visibly slower to clear the launch tower.
Yeah, the Saturn V was not fast off the pad.
No, and this one was even slower, apparently.
Yeah. If you compare like the Titan II to the Saturn V, the Titan II is just like, see ya. Saturn V is like,
Mm.
and then it off goes.
Yeah, nice.
Well, Apollo 12's spacecraft and launch vehicle were almost identical to Apollo 11's, except that they added hammocks to allow Conrad and Bean, Charles P. Conrad, that is, and pilot Alan L. Bean to be able to rest more comfortably once they were on the moon.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, sleeping in the Apollo lunar module was not good. I think no, we won't put a photo up because it's irrelevant for this because they never landed.
yeah.
But
It could be.
they had like crisscrossing hammocks.
No, it definitely will be relevant.
Okay. I mean, they didn't land on the moon,
No, but-
so they didn't get to use them.
Well, they did.
Well, I
They
mean,
did
they were
not know
in
that.
there, but like,
Anyway,
sure.
the spacecraft for Apollo 13 consisted of command module and service module together, command and service module, which was named,
Oh, what was that one?
testing his knowledge here,
Oh, what was that one?
Odyssey.
Was it Odyssey?
Yes.
Which one was Challenger?
Ooh,
Challenger, the one that burst into flames.
no, that's the
There was a Challenger lunar
Shuttle.
CSM as well.
the Challenger shuttle burst into flames.
Challenger was the one that blew up on the way up.
Yes.
No, yes, Columbia was the one that blew up on the way
On the way
down.
back.
No, there was a Challenger CSM as well. I want to say it was Apollo 17.
So yeah, the command, like you said, the command module CSM together was named
Odyssey.
and the lunar module was called Aquarius.
Apollo 17 stage Challenger. Ascend stage, yep.
The primary mission objective was to, quote, perform xenological inspection, survey, and sampling of materials in a pre-selected region of the Fra Maru Formation, deploy and activate an Apollo lunar surface experiments package, develop man's capability to work in the lunar environment, obtain photographs of candidate exploration sites. That was their official mission statement, or goal, like we said before. They were also tasked with taking several photos of the moon, as well as the, I did look this up, Jigenxian. The Jigenxian.
Jigenxian? What?
Jigenxian. Sean?
One moment.
Gegenschein. I can tell you what it is because I looked it up, but if Sean wants to jump in.
The Jigenxian is a faintly bright spot in the night sky centered opposite the position of the sun. The backscatter of the sunlight by interplanetary dust causes the optical phenomenon. It's also called counterglow.
There you go.
So it's like,
It's refraction is what it is.
yeah, it's kind of when you look up at the night sky, you know, how you kind of see like the bright
Line.
line down the middle of the sky. That's what it is. Well, I always thought that was like the arm of the Milky Way, but
Yeah, I thought that was the plane of the Milky Way.
yeah, but no.
No, it's the refraction of light around the Earth captured by
Makes
the
sense.
dust particles.
Yep.
Interplanetary dust, which is pretty awesome sounding. Dust.
One thing to think about is that most of the stars that you see aren't actually stars; they're galaxies or like
Oh, yeah. When they
Yeah.
zoom in on that one little
galaxies
thing. it's-
way, way away.
Mm.
Yeah.
As I said earlier on, launch was on April 11th, 1970, and was mostly uneventful.
Was it?
However, there is one anomaly
Mm.
where the second stage inboard engine shut down 2 minutes early due to severe pogo oscillations.
Oscillations?
Oscillations?
Yeah.
Oscillations.
Hmm.
Want to explain, boy?
Isn't that where like the thrust center is like moving back and forth?
Believe so.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was reading ahead. Say again.
Pogo oscillations. Pogo.
Can we cut that?
Is that what you were talking about earlier about the launch difficulties? Okay.
Pogo oscillation is a self-excited vibration in liquid propellant rocket engines caused by combustion instability. The unstable combustion results in variations of engine thrust, causing variations of acceleration on the vehicle's flexible structure, which in turn cause variations in the propellant pressure and flow rate, closing the self-excitation cycle. The name is a metaphor comparing the longitudinal vibration to the bouncing of a pogo stick. Pogo oscillation Pogo oscillation places stress on the frame of the vehicle, which in severe cases can be very dangerous.
Because what is wrong? It's been a hot day. An investigation later revealed that the engine was one full cycle away from catastrophic failure, which I assume means it would have went boom.
Don't believe that.
Well, that's what the
I
investigation
don't
said.
believe that for a second.
The third
That feels like the kind of thing where you're like, it
almost blew up.
would have exploded if they didn't do it right then.
The third stage was able to
Like,
burn.
as if Apollo 13 isn't dramatic enough. They're like, it was one oscillation.
One oscillation. How could you possibly?
How could you know?
One full cycle.
The Saturn V engines and the second stage engines are at the bottom of the ocean somewhere.
Yep.
How do you know that?
Yep. Keep it or cut it. By the way, do you know how many astronauts have sick flat tops in their astronaut photo?
Oh, all of them.
Man, it's badass.
Yeah.
This one guy.
The astronauts back then were like the sickest dudes you'd ever met.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm not saying this to smack talk modern day astronauts, but modern astronauts are nerds.
Look at Deke Slayton.
Yeah, look at
sick
Deke
flat
Slayton.
top. Yeah.
They were like,
Do you know who Deke Slayton is?
test pilots. They were like rock stars.
Yeah, he was the test pilot who was selected as one of the original NASA Mercury 7 astronauts. He went on to be the chief astronaut.
Go on.
Do I need to?
Yeah, what are you alluding to?
Oh, and the director
Deke
of
Slayton. Go on.
Yeah, look, he was a US Air Force pilot during World War II, and he flew in Europe and the Pacific, and he left the Army after World War II. The US Army Air Forces, sorry. Went on to receive a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical Engineering from the University of Minnesota, and he later joined the National Guard, working for Boeing. He then joined the Air Force again and attended the test pilot school, and then finally he applied to be selected as one of the Mercury 7 test pilots, NASA's first class of astronauts.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Deke Slayton got grounded because he couldn't see or something, couldn't see properly or whatever. He missed the entirety of Gemini and Apollo until the last launch of Apollo, which was Skylab, not Skylab, whatever. The last launch of Apollo, where he got to go on that one. So like he went the whole way through without being able to.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So he got grounded because of atrial fibrillation, which is an abnormal heart rhythm characterized by rapid and irregular beating of the atrial chambers of the heart. It often begins as short periods of abnormal breathing, which becomes longer or continuous over time. And yes, he was finally medically cleared to fly and was the docking module pilot of the 1975 Apollo-Soyuz test project, which was the first crewed international space mission carried out jointly.
I think he was the one that decided who went up as well. So he was the one that chose Armstrong and Aldrin.
Yeah, so to your point where you're saying like the astronauts today are nerds, all these ones were talking
super unfair on the astronauts today. They're still like high performing people.
Oh yeah, very fit. But I think to your point is that all these Apollo astronauts, they were ex-pilots in World War II.
They were all test pilots. Yeah,
he has the Distinguished Flying Cross.
Yeah, they were all like incredibly accomplished pilots.
So you imagine like
got there.
Except
for the guy on
like the character Maverick from Top Gun. That's after his career, he goes in to be an astronaut.
But I think it was 17,
which was the start of Maverick, wasn't it?
One of the guys on 17 was just a scientist.
Yeah,
he wasn't a test pilot.
Yeah.
He was like the only one that wasn't in the military.
So anyway, back to Aaron saying that
you're really revitalizing my love of this topic, by the way.
Yeah,
this is what my flat tops.
Wait, this is my gift to you. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted you to get happy and excited about it.
I am bummed to warm a Christmas shirt, though. I thought this was going to be a Christmas episode.
Well, sorry. Snoop
Can we,
Christmas over there.
I don't know
Snoop Dogg on it.
If it's not in the episode, I'll superimpose a photo of this T-shirt on afterwards, but it is brilliant.
So anyway, according to this issue that the Stage 2 rocket had, the Stage 3 was able to burn longer, and Apollo 13 managed to achieve the planned waypoint anyway. So they were able to
I actually think it was the same stage that burnt longer.
Oh, okay. They were able to meet their projections anyway, regardless. At 30 hours into the mission, the crew settled in for the 3-day trip to the moon. There was a bit of humour at this time between the crew and mission control, as John Swigert realised during his haste he forgot to submit his federal income tax return, which was due on April 15th. Remember, they launched on April 11th. It was found that he was entitled to a 60-day extension due to being out of the country. So there was a bit of like banter back and forth, like with Mission Control laughing, like, hang on, you what? And he's like, oh crap, I forgot to submit it.
Did we ever work out what moon time was last episode?
I don't believe so.
Why are we talking about the moon last episode?
Last episode.
Was it last episode we were talking about moon time?
I remember talking about moon time. Why did we talk about moon time?
I don't remember talking about moon time.
Maybe it wasn't in the episode.
I think we got cut.
Were we just talking about moon time? It doesn't matter. Move on.
I don't remember it. Ooh. 55 hours into the mission, they awoke on the third day and after being told the schedule had been moved forward 4 hours, performed a TV broadcast in which the crew gave a tour of the interiors of Odyssey and Aquarius.
I believe this was one that didn't end up getting broadcast on actual TV.
No, it was not broadcast to the general public. So
the level of interest in America in the space program dropped radically after 11. Like I think 12 had a third of the viewers or something.
Yeah, one of the wives of the pilots had to go into Mission Control to see the broadcast because that was the only way she could see it. So we're all happy and going along swimmingly.
That is insane, by the way. Like you literally have people on the way to the moon, and the only way that you can see them talking is by going into Mission Control.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I've gone down an uncomfortable rabbit hole. What time is it on the moon? Fundamentally, and ignoring the complications of Einstein's special relativity, it's the same time as it is on Earth. But this is a bit of a cheat, of course, because we haven't defined how we are measuring time. Oh, no. I feel very small. This always happens when we do space stuff.
Days are a lot longer on the moon.
Don't.
The moon is tidal locked. We always see the same face of the moon.
Very few people understand that. Like there is no dark side of the moon.
No.
It's just the side that we don't see.
Correct. That's what they class as the dark. So it could be in full sun. We just don't see it.
But isn't it because the moon...
Yes, tidal locked.
Yeah, it's tidal locked. It always faces Earth on the same
plane.
It rotates at the speed that means that we see the same.
It rotates and orbits at the same speed.
Yeah.
Yes.
It rotates at the speed that means that the same face is always facing us as it spins around.
Yes.
Which is really cool to think of, really, isn't it?
So by that logic, no, the dark side only applies if the sun is facing the moon and then it's dark on the opposite side. But
yeah. But there is no dark side because the sun lights up that side.
It's the far side of the moon.
On an eclipse, that side is full.
It's the far side.
No,
it's the far side of the moon.
Not during an eclipse. When we see the moon as dark, the other side is lit because it's on the other side of the sun.
That's a solar
and
eclipse.
also during a solar eclipse.
During a solar eclipse, that side is full sunlight, completely full sunlight because we have...
John is correct.
Yeah, you're right because the moon goes in front of the sun.
But it is not the only time that happens.
Yeah.
It's the far side of the moon.
Anyway.
Thank you, Michael Bay.
Yeah, Transformers. And Iron Sky.
What's the eclipse when it goes around the other side and it goes all red?
Hey.
Have you seen Iron Sky?
Lunar eclipse.
Lunar eclipse. It's when the moon travels into the shadow of the
Remember the
Earth.
first time that I streamed, I did a lunar mission in Kerbal Space Program.
Oh, yes.
And I streamed for, I think it was just you and Brendan ended up watching it.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that I got a lunar eclipse in the game. So when I was orbiting the moon in the game, it was a lunar eclipse, so the moon was all red.
Bring it back. Bring it back. No, bring back us streaming games.
Yep.
Could happen.
Talk about that in the new year.
So, like I said, are we all going happily and
Give
going
a knowing
along?
wink, Sean. Go on.
Give a knowing wink. A foreboding wink.
Give a foreboding wink.
Cheeky plays.
Well,
that's John's job. We haven't talked about it yet.
Oh, geez. Well, approximately 6 hours, 6.5 minutes after the broadcast, when the mission clock was almost 56 hours and the craft was 180,000 nautical miles or 330,000 kilometers from Earth, the incident occurred. There was a malfunction in a pressure sensor of one of the service module's oxygen tanks. Swiggett was tasked with stirring the tanks, which would give more accurate pressure readings. And 95 seconds after activating the switches to engage the fans, the astronauts heard a pretty large bang.
Kablooey.
26 seconds later, we get the famous misquoted line. Swiggett says, "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem." At this time, the craft was also experiencing electrical fluctuations. Now, do we want to hear the audio clip now of the crew and mission control speaking, or do we want to wait till the end? Guess we'll hear it now.
Was that it? You just played it while we were speaking?
How long is this clip?
Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. This is Houston. Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B plus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by at 13. We're looking at it.
All right, that's a good place to cut it.
Okay, right now, Houston, the voltage is looking good. And we had a pretty large bang associated with the caution and warning there. And as I recall, main B was the one that had a amp spike on it once before. Roger, Fred. In the interim here, we're starting to go ahead and button up the tunnel again.
Dragging on a bit.
Yeah, it's another 2 minutes.
You know that there's a website called Apollo in real time, and you can actually watch.
Oh, okay.
What is it? The movie, but it's spread out so that the events happen, because that's hilarious.
No. It's the actual missions played back in real time. So you got Apollo 11, 13, and 17, and they're played back with like the full video and audio of the missions.
So if you were to start
in real time,
Apollo 13 now, in 56 hours, you'd get to the clip you just heard.
So I heard about it when it was the 50th anniversary of 11. So you could like tune into the website to watch it in real time as it happened 50 years ago. It was dope.
That sounds pretty cool.
You get like all the build up and it. Okay, not dope for everyone. Dope for me.
Is it worth the word dope?
But you can go and hear them talking about stuff like as it was happening in, like you only ever get these really small clips of it, right? You get like the moment they stepped on the moon.
Yes.
You get the moment they landed on the moon.
Yes.
You get the launch.
Yes.
But you don't get all the stuff in between, which was like incredibly tense. Like you can listen to the full sequence of them coming in to land on the moon and like you hear the clip of them being like, "Oh, you got a bunch of people in here about to turn blue." But you get to hear the bits leading up where they're like, "Guys, you've only got like 10 seconds. Oh my God. What are you doing? Oh my God." Like you get to hear all that. It's super fascinating for me. No one else is going to look at it.
So originally...
Anyway, the misquoted line, boy.
Yeah.
We just heard that.
Yes. Where the actual line says...
the actual line is, I believe we've had a problem here.
Yeah. And then the line from the movie is...
Houston, we've had a problem.
We have a problem.
And I think they also get the wrong person saying it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The first time it's said is by Swiggett.
The first time it's said, he says, "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here." Followed by, "This is Houston, say again, please." And then, "Houston, we've had a problem."
Yeah. And that was Lovell the second time. So in the movie, I think Hanks is the only one that says it.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
that sounds like the same person says it.
It's different people.
Okay.
I haven't actually seen the movie.
You kidding me? You haven't seen the greatest space movie of all time.
I haven't. I've seen Deep Impact.
Swiggett reported 26. The accident happened at 55 hours, 54 minutes, 53 seconds. Swiggett reported 26 seconds later, "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here." Echoed immediately after by Lovell, "Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B-bus undervolt."
Yes. So originally, Lovell thought Hayes had activated the lunar module's cabin depressurization valve, which also produced a bang. And Hayes enjoyed doing it because it would startle his crewmates. But Lovell could see Hayes was looking confused as well. They would get a reading that their power supply was under voltage, which meant the 3 fuel cells weren't working properly. When they were checked, 2 of the 3 fuel cells were dead. These fuel cells required oxygen to operate, and when the oxygen tanks were checked, it showed that tank 2 was empty and tank 1 was slowly falling. What had happened? The oxygen tank 2 had exploded. So yeah, as Sean just said, they were experiencing undervolts, which just means they weren't getting as much power as they should have been. So what was the plan? A direct abort? Aaron, do we want to explain what a direct abort is?
Direct abort is like, don't you just go straight back?
Yes, straight back. They just would have turn around and come straight back.
Yeah. Incredibly difficult when they're already on the translunar.
I also read that navigation was difficult. Like navigation using the stars at this moment was difficult because of the debris surrounding the craft. Is that because the debris from the explosion would have been traveling with them?
Yeah. So if you think about like an explosion on Earth, everything explodes out and then lands.
Yeah.
Or if you're moving, it explodes and then lands behind you. In space, when it explodes, it just is there.
Yeah,
And
it just
it's-
kind of expands out a little bit and then travels with you.
Yeah, like I mean, it'll keep moving.
Yeah.
Like it's still got momentum, but in those first few minutes, there would have still been stuff like coming out and floating around. But because it's moving at the same space, same time, same speed, velocity as you, it's just going to be there.
Yeah, it's just weird to think of, like boom, and then
There's
like
a story of one of the early Mercury missions.
space. We've covered it.
Yeah, the space piss.
We've covered it.
Yeah. So for those that don't remember, they were in the craft and they're like, oh, there's all this weird metallic-y,
and stuff.
glowy light stuff outside. What's going on? Oh, they couldn't work it out. It was because they'd vented their piss
And
outside.
it was burning up
Yeah.
and creating
It wasn't
light.
burning up. It was just there. And because it crystallizes.
Yeah, I think it was like plasma rising, which was creating light and stuff. It's also a plane effect. It can happen like flying a plane. You get the I forget what it's called now, something lights over the cockpit window.
Yeah, when you hit volcanic stuff,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
dust and that.
Yep, that's the one.
What's that called? Yeah.
In any case, the mission goal for Apollo 13 had changed, and it changed to simply getting the astronauts back to Earth alive. About an hour after the explosion, the crew moved into the lunar module and used it as a lifeboat. This isn't as great as it sounds. The LM was only designed to take 2 people down to the surface of the moon and back again,
For like 20 hours or something.
with supplies lasting roughly 45 hours.
Oh, it was a bit longer on that one, wasn't it?
To make it back to Earth, the lunar module would have to support 3 men almost 90 hours and travel nearly 3,222 kilometres. 1/5 water rations were introduced and the heater was turned off to conserve energy, meaning temperatures were just above freezing. Some food became inedible due to the cold temperatures, and I read that one of the astronauts, I believe it was Hayes, got the flu or a kidney infection, or both.
Yeah. I think it was a kidney infection.
In any case, they all lost a fair bit of weight in the trying conditions. There was also a problem with removing carbon dioxide from the air. This piece of equipment from the command module that was meant to do it was like a square plug, and it wouldn't fit into the round opening in the lunar module. Back at Mission Control, they built an impromptu adapter out of materials they knew that were on board, and the crew was successfully able to copy their model.
It is a misconception in the films that NASA like didn't know what to do or like were making it up on the fly. They did have to make this thing on the fly, but they had practiced pretty much everything that happened in Apollo 13 in some form earlier.
Yep.
So they had practiced the lifeboat technique.
Yep.
They'd used it in the idea that the command module got contaminated somehow. So they'd all get into the lunar module and then like evacuate the air. So they had done it before.
It still sounds unpleasant. Like,
Oh, it's not fun.
it's not.
but
This was
yeah.
not designed to.
The film makes it seem like NASA were like, oh, we're going to make it up. Oh, God. But they kind of knew what they were doing.
Okay. On April 14th, the most difficult section of the return home would take place as the crew swung around the moon, taking pictures on the way. They also actually set a world record for the furthest humans from Earth.
I think that's been broken.
And I looked it up.
no,
It
that
still
one's still
stands.
true, yeah.
It still stands today. But as they slingshotted around, they engaged the lunar module's engines for 5 minutes, which would give them enough speed to return home before running out of energy. A little while later, they would fire it again, using the sun as an alignment. All in all, a successful maneuver. Not an easy maneuver, but a successful one.
It was the furthest crew capable spacecraft. That's the record that got broken.
Yeah, it's
not
the-
the furthest crew.
It is this is what I looked it up. It said the furthest humans.
Yeah,
from
yeah, the
Earth.
furthest humans have gone, but the record that got broken in
okay.
Artemis was the furthest human capable.
Right.
bit.
So yeah, there was no one in
okay.
it.
After 3 days of being huddled together in the lunar module, the crew repressurized the command module and powered it up for re-entry, as the lunar module would not handle re-entering the Earth's atmosphere.
Little spider boy.
The 2 craft were disconnected and the descent began. does that mean the Apollo 13 lunar module is still in orbit?
No.
Oh, it just burnt up into the atmosphere.
Yeah, so because it was all still together
Yeah.
and was on a entry trajectory, they ejected it and the service module together.
Yeah.
So they both re-entered and burnt up.
That would be pretty cool if it was still just out there.
Well, Snoopy is. I think it's Snoopy. Is it Snoopy? From one of the, I think it's Apollo 9?
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
Or
I think
Apollo 10, actually.
might have been in the other episode
Yeah.
you did. You might have mentioned that they left it in orbit.
Mm.
And so just before 1 p.m. on April 17th, 1970, the crew safely splashed down in the Pacific Ocean. There was a moment of nervousness as it was thought the heat shield may have been damaged in the incident, and Mission Control had to endure a 4-minute wait without radio communication.
Yeah, while they're re-entering the atmosphere, it's impossible to have communication.
But relief came when the craft's parachute was spotted. And because of this, things were improved for the following Apollo missions, and they include another cryo-oxygen tank that could be isolated to only supply the crew, removing all cryo tanks' fans and wiring, removing the thermostats from cryo tanks and changing the type of heater tubes, adding a 400 amp hour lunar module descent stage battery, adding water storage bags to the command module. So those things were added to improve the following missions. As for the astronauts, Hayes was assigned to command Apollo 19. However, it and 2 other planned missions were cancelled due to NASA's budget cuts. Damn Dolphin House. He later did pilot the Space Shuttle Enterprise during its test flight. Another callback to the CTU. In 1982, Swigert was elected to Congress in his home state of Colorado. However, he was diagnosed with bone cancer during the campaign and sadly died before being able to be sworn in. And Lovell, with journalist Jeffrey Kluger, co-authored a book on Lovell's career, which mainly focused on the Apollo 13 mission. That was the book I was hoping you'd actually have. It was titled Lost Moon, Perilous Voyage of Apollo 13, which stimulated Hollywood into action, and the Apollo 13 movie starring Tom Hanks was born. And finally, back to Judith. After retiring from being an engineer in 1990, she wrote 2 series of books. You Can Be a Woman series, which she created to encourage very young girls to pursue careers in science and engineering, and the Green series, which was aimed at young children and focused on promoting positive environmental practices. She also co-wrote a book called The Women of Apollo, which features short biographies of 4 women who helped put humans on the moon. Judith among them. Sadly, her life ended in 2016 after a short battle with cancer. And that is the story of Apollo 13 and Jack Black's mum, Judith Love Cohen, which is not what she should be known as, just as Jack Black's mum. She has contributed so much to human history and the space program.
I love the story of Jack Black's mum because of what you just said, which is she did something incredible, but not noteworthy.
Not really noteworthy. And
people don't care.
No.
They're just like, oh, Jack Black's mum.
Yep.
Like, no, she had this massive life and did this such cool stuff.
But because of her son's
Fame,
she gets more
Jack Black's
recognition,
mum.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's just even that story of taking her work into hospital
Yeah.
while giving birth and then ringing her boss like, I've solved the problem. Don't tell me the numbers aren't adding up.
I'm not pushing till I do the math.
So no, just Judith Cohen, just incredible woman. Again, like I said, for her contributions to human history and also producing a very funny human boy. I find him very
Human
funny.
boy.
Human boy.
Yeah. Good story, boy.
so
I'm
that-
annoyed you stole it from me, but also I'm happy that I got to sit here and just enjoy it.
Yes, that was what I was talking about the other night about your reaction.
Yeah.
I know you love this thing, but there's plenty of other space stories we can cover, like we mentioned earlier, Columbia and
Challenger. Challenger is a depressing story.
Yes, it is. But yeah,
So is Columbia, actually.
as I said, Merry Christmas to you, boy. I wanted to gift this episode
Thank
to
you,
you
boy.
as a special treat because I know you absolutely love this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, boy. And
Sean?
Merry Christmas to all.
Hello. I did have fun. I went down a deep rabbit hole moving
moon
through.
time?
Yeah, not on the moon time. I did go down the moon time, but looking through other Apollo projects in the process.
Oh,
And
yes.
some other cool stuff. Mainly.
Plans for Apollo were massive, and they got cut very quickly because of just people didn't care after 11.
Well, they shouldn't have funded Dolphin House. That's the undoing of NASA.
So Snoopy is the only lunar module that's in heliocentric orbit.
Well, it's the only one left.
They're going to recover that
That's the only
day?
one that went into heliocentric orbit.
Yeah,
The
'cause
others,
the rest either got crashed into the moon or burnt up in the atmosphere.
yeah, deliberately though. So like it wasn't even like an accident. Snoopy was the only one that they deliberately put in heliocentric
Yeah.
orbit.
So from memory, in the episode, I don't know if I said this in the space race one, but they slammed all the lunar modules into the moon to test the seismic
The
equipment they
seismic
left there.
equivalent, yeah.
I think you did mention that.
Apollo 11's ascent stage would be left in lunar orbit to crash, while post-Apollo 11 ascent stages were steered directly into the moon to obtain readings from the seismometers placed on the surface, with two exceptions. Apollo 13's ascent stage, which the crew used as a lifeboat to get back safely to the Earth before releasing it to burn up in Earth's atmosphere, and Apollo 16's, which NASA lost control of after jettison.
So would they plan on recovering Snoopy one day, if it was possible?
People have talked about doing it. I don't want them to.
You wouldn't want to travel to somewhere to see it?
No.
Okay.
Because you can see mock-ups of them. You can see the ones that they created.
There's one over there.
Yeah. They created Earth versions of them.
Yeah, okay.
Because like they wouldn't be able to hold their own weight in Earth. But I think the fact that there is one still out there orbiting the sun, like that's cool, and it should still be there.
I would also assume they would have the modules from the cancelled missions as well.
I'm not sure if any were. I think some may have been built but didn't get used. But all the Saturn V's got used. All the real ones, anyway. And I don't know if any of the real command modules still exist. But yeah, so I don't want them to bring it back. I think it's cool that it's out there.
Well, you heard it from an official space fan. Snoopy's not coming home.
Shouldn't come home.
I think it'd be cool to have, but
I mean,
piece of history.
Whatever. Like if they bring it back, cool. You get to go see it. But there's plenty of stuff on Earth you can see.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's my opinion.
All right. Well, we're going to have some links in the link tree.
Yeah, I'm going to have to remember what they were now. We're going to have that audio.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Are you able to? The link tree is obviously going to be posted in the comments or the
It's in
description
every post. Yeah.
of the YouTube video.
Mhm.
Thanks for watching, YouTube. Thanks for listening, everyone else.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Have a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year, because we won't speak to you till the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty close. We'll be back for Sean's
Medley.
Medley of Madness.
Mm.
Medley of Madness, Volume 2.
And then 2 weeks after that, we'll be back with Aaron's episode.
Medley
Yes.
of Madness and the Chamber of Secrets.
Medley of Two Medley, Two Madness.
Mm-hmm.
All jokes you used last time. Anyway, thanks for listening.
22 Medley Street.
Catch us. That's a good
That
one.
was a good one.
All right. Hit us up on the socials at Cheeky Tales Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
X, not Twitter.
I refuse to call it X.
Oh, for God's it's X.
The website is still
You're
twitter.com.
wrong. It's X.
Don't care.
The 2 medleys, which is meant to be the 2 towers, but there's nothing else on it. Anyway, thanks for listening.
No. Boo. Cut it. What did I say about 9/11 jokes? No.
Lord of the Rings joke, thank you. You
What
brought
are
up
you
9/11.
talking about?
I thought he said Twin Towers.
Yeah, you're the one making
The 2 towers.
Wow.
Wow, Sean.
Wow, never
Oh,
forget.
dear.
Wow.
Cut it.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Even
night,
though it's
Chiquitos.
clearly daytime.
Ta-ta. Why do we say good night? People don't listen to this at
We
night.
always record at night.
Yeah, I know. We got to stop saying that. We got to say something like "see you next time" instead of "good night."
No, it's good night, Chiquitos.
No, but it's not night. It comes out in the morning.
actually comes out
I
at
was going
midnight.
to cut this, but now they're just bickering, and I think
comes
we
out-
need to hear it.
Yeah,
Little bit of ASMR for you guys.
we're not doing ASMR. Your beard scratches on the microphone when you do that. No one wants to bloody do that. Quit waving at the camera.
Good night, Chiquita.